am blessed. I am blessed, I am blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed, I am blessed. I am blessed, I am blessed. I am blessed. I am.
Welcome to the Journey of Conversation podcast. I am your host, Alasia Alexander, and today we'll be talking about transitioning from home to college. Today we'll have a special guest, my special friend, Rital Omer, to share her experiences as she navigated and adjusted to college life. All right, for the first question, tell me about yourself and include interesting facts.
Hi, my name is Rital, and I'm a sophomore here at UNC Charlotte studying biology. I am from Sudan, but I grew up in Qatar, which is a 14-hour flight from here, so I think I'm the perfect person to talk about transitioning from home to college. My family and I are super, super close. Like, I FaceTime my mom every single day. I just got off the phone with her, actually. And the rest of my family, we are distant physically. We're kind of spread out throughout the world, but we do call all the time. We do FaceTime all the time, and we try to get together as often as possible to do like little family vacations or get-togethers and whatnot. So, yeah, interesting about me, I have 2 cats. I'm a big cat person. Even back home, I had a cat, and I felt like weird abandoning her, but I had to do what I had to do. So I have two new cats that I adopted, and I love them so much. Their names are Snoopy and Buddy, and they might make an appearance at any point here.
I'm glad you were able to keep in contact with your family. I don't know how you do it, girl. Being away 14 hours, girl, I don't know how you do it. I'm 2.5 hours, and for the next question, what emotion stood out to you before leaving for college?
I think when I was getting ready to leave college, I was just filled with a mix of emotions. Like, for one, I was extremely scared. To this day, I think I'm kind of just scared of change. I think up until that point in my life, I had lived in the same house my whole life. I literally went to the same school. It was the same campus for kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school. My whole life, I knew the exact same people. I was never really used to, trying new things or getting out of my comfort zone in terms of speaking to new people or making new connections, because it was always just the same circle. It was a big circle, and you would kind of just go from group to group to group, but it was all people that you knew and grew up with. So I was extremely nervous about that. But how am I going to make friends? How am I going to settle in? How am I going to be away from my parents? All that. I just didn't know what to expect in terms of how I was going to deal with it. But at the same time, I was extremely excited, because living with your parents, obviously, it's amazing, and I love my parents so much, but I did want that sense of independence, of being able to do what I want and being able to kind of leave the house whenever I want, not really have to ask permission from anybody. It's not like I wanted to be up to anything, but just having that freedom of like, yes, okay, I feel like doing this right now, I'm gonna go do it. So those were the 2 main things that were going through my mind as like I was about to leave.
I know you had to be scared. Being from another country and coming in and having this whole new environment different from where you grew up and seeing the social norms and how people interact, I know this whole transition was hard for you. And talking to new people and being able to put yourself out there, even though when you were back home, all you knew were the same people, and having to just create another community, I know that had to be scary. For me, I would say it was hard for me because I'm the only child, and I really didn't initiate conversations or try to meet new people growing up. So it was really a big push coming into college, because college will make you grow up in a sense when it comes to communicating and talking with people. So it was kind of the same, even though I was a little short distance from home. Did your view on college change when comparing to when you first left?
My view on college has stayed the exact same from before I left to now. And I think in the best way possible. I thought it was going to be like a hub for socialization and meeting new people and new friends and new experiences, and it has been exactly that. I think for the first year I was here, I was kind of really scared of getting out of my comfort zone, but now that I've kind of gotten past that barrier, which there's really no secret on how to become more social or how to become more extroverted. You just have to go do it, you know what I mean? So since I've gone past that like fear, I guess I've just become like a social butterfly. I never thought I would be, but I've become a social butterfly, and I find a way to get out of my comfort zone every single day. I try to find a way to talk to new people, to make myself a bit uncomfortable, because you really can't experience anything. You can't say that you've experienced college if you haven't made yourself uncomfortable at least, I don't know, once a week. Like, just go do something that you're not a big fan of, or something that you never thought you would like. That's how I've been getting myself out there, and I think, like I said, college is exactly what I thought it would be in the best way possible.
Girl, your college it didn't change. You knew that it was gonna be like this. I wish you was there to tell me, because I had no expectations of what college was. I feel like I knew I had to grow up, but not at the magnitude that I had to when I got to college. You spoke on being a social butterfly and getting out of your comfort zone. This college journey has been the definition of getting out of my comfort zone, because I wasn't used to being around a lot of people. I come from a small town, so being on a campus that has a lot of people, and different people at that, very diverse, it helped me come out of my comfort zone and be more outgoing, especially when I needed to. Next question. What was your biggest adjustment living away from home?
The biggest adjustment I had to make when moving to college was fully being in control of taking care of myself. I think when I was back home, it's very easy to kind of just be laid back, like not really proactively worry about anything, like doctor's appointments, and like even little things like cleaning your room or whatever. Your mom or my mom was always there to tell me, like, hey, don't let your room get too messy, don't forget to do this, don't forget to put that back, all that. And I think coming here and learning how to like do that stuff on my own and keep track of everything that I need to do, that was extremely hard for me. And I'm a list maker. I'm the type to make lists. So I think that has become like my number one savior. It's just writing down every single thing I need to do, even if it's very minuscule. I just write it down, because obviously I don't have my mom here to like sit and remind me of every single thing that I, have to get done that week or whatever it is. And same with, like, I don't know, going out to groceries before you starve to death because there's nothing in the fridge. Just little things like that, I think, was the hardest adaptation, aside from obviously like the social differences and the cultural differences. I think that I still am learning how to get used to. I feel like sometimes I have a hard time communicating with people who are from here or have grew up here, not because of anything other than the fact that we were raised differently. You know what I mean? I think that's something that I'm still trying to get a grasp of. But again, I'm just like making myself uncomfortable every day. As weird as that sounds, just putting myself out there, and hopefully one day I get to the point that I'm super comfortable and can talk to anybody,
I know settling in had to be a real big part for you, especially the circumstance. I feel like for me, settling in was a big part because, like I said before, being able to come from a small town and come to an atmosphere where there's so many different people, it was hard for me to navigate. It was hard for me to work through my anxiety, especially socially and academically, because talking to professors and all that stuff, having to be in control of what I needed and how this whole college life could best benefit me. Next question. Did you struggle with motivation or discipline?
Motivation versus discipline. I think this is a really good one. I think in my head, my motivation is always there. Like, I always know this is what I plan to do, this is how I plan to get it. Now the issue the issue is the discipline of like, okay, let me actually get up and do that thing, I think to this day I still struggle with that, but I especially did at the beginning of my college days, when I didn't really know how the college system worked. I didn't know about any clubs. I didn't know about, like, I didn't know that I could just go talk to my professor about something that I thought was interesting. I could ask them about opportunities. I didn't know how to go about the things that I wanted to do. And I think that I just chose to be lazy. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know how to do it. That kind of sucks. Like, I'm not going to be proactive and go figure out how to get what I want. And then I would kind of feel bad about it because I'm like, wait, I really want this. And, it's kind of like a loop of like, okay, I want this thing. I don't know how to get it. I'm not going to get it. No, I'm sad, but I want this thing. It's like, it's hard. And I think till now, I don't think I've fully found out who I am. I think every single day I'm learning more and more about myself. That's why I keep saying, like, to this day, I still feel this way sometimes, because it's like, I'm only a sophomore, you know, I still have so much learning to do and so many more experiences that I haven't had yet. But I was gonna say, to this day, like, I still struggle sometimes, like, go and figure out how to do something that I want to do and actually get it done. Like I said, the motivation is always there. I always know what I want. It's just like, let me go about actually doing it.
I know you said motivation was always there and discipline was a little shaky, but I'm glad you got through it. There's no guidebook on how to talk to professors. There's no guidebook on how to navigate through college at all. So for you to figure out that in your second year is really good, because college will definitely make you learn fast. For me, I feel like the struggle with motivation and discipline wasn't really a factor for me, because I was driven off of fear and not being successful. That's what pushed me to keep going and to not slack off. So I would say my discipline and motivation kind of coexisted. It was kind of like together. There was no real separation. I knew I needed to get this done in order to move to the next step. I knew I had to keep going, because I don't want to put all my hard work in vain. Like, I want to be able to continue to do this and reach the goal that is in the end. Next question. Did you feel lonely surrounded by people?
I always look back to my freshman year when I answer questions like this. So, have I ever felt lonely in a room full of crowded people? Yes, 1,000,000%. I think when I was in that stage of life, just transitioning, I was extremely scared of social interaction, and so I didn't have many friends, and that was literally no one's fault except mine. I think I was so extremely intimidated by the thought of talking to someone that I didn't know and going up to them and asking what their name was and all that. So I remember being in class or in a big lecture hall, and you see every person is talking to the person next to them or behind them, or just making some sort of conversation, talking to the professor's talking to his TAs, you know, everybody's socializing. And I would just be sitting there, like, maybe go on my phone, try to act like I didn't care. I wasn't talking to anyone. I think I've had multiple moments like that, specifically in lecture or in class, where I'm like looking around, I'm like, wow, everybody knows someone here, which is not true. No, they didn't know each other, but they just wanted to talk and wanted to socialize. And like, in class, I think is the best time where you can take advantage of the fact that there's literally people all around you. When the professor asks a question, oh, what do you think about that? What do you think? What did you get? You know? And I didn't do that. I never talked to anybody. And so I would walk out of lecture, again, seeing everyone walk with the person who sits next to them, whatever. I'm like, wow, like, I don't have anyone here. And that was no one's fault but my own. And thank God I can say that I don't feel that way anymore, because I've learned to, like I've said a million times, go out of my comfort zone and just do it. Just go up to someone and talk to them. And yeah, thank God I don't feel like that anymore.
I know you mentioned how you was in a classroom and everybody was talking to everybody and you thought people knew each other and you were intimidated to initiate conversations. I felt that as well. I would go in a classroom and feel like people know each other, and I'm just like, gosh, like, I don't have nobody in this class that I know. And I felt kind of lonely, even though it was a lot of people. But I began to see that people didn't really know each other. They were just keeping a conversation, talking about something that they had in common, which was most likely the class. And I just saw how easy it is just to go up to somebody and talk, especially when you're going through social and academic challenges in class or anything in college. It's a great way to connect to people, to know that you're not alone. So doing that and being able to initiate conversations seems so easy to me after I just did. Next question. What did you learn about your emotional strength?
I think my mental and emotional strength has increased so much in this past year. I mean, I'm going to talk about my mom again. Sue me. Whenever I had anything going on in my life back in Qatar, she was the first person I would run to, and I would cry to her. I would, you know, like, she would console me, all that. I was 100% mama's girl. But now that I'm here, obviously it's not as convenient to just hit up my mom when it's like 4 a.m. for her. I'm like, Mom! Like, I don't do that anymore. So I've had to learn how to depend on myself for that kind of thing. So just finding healthy ways to cope through my emotions. I think that's a very big thing because obviously everybody experiences sadness, everybody experiences grief or anger or hurt. It's just about how you go about dealing with it. You can either deal with that in extremely unhealthy ways or even worse, suppress it and not talk about it, not feel it, not go through it. Or you could take the healthier route and actually face your emotions head on. I think I'm very much like, I've always been like, I need to talk about how I feel, I need to express it, I need to cry about it to get through it. And now just mm, having to deal with that on my own, I think it's been a journey, you know what I mean? And the ways that I console myself now, I kind of just like take a breather, feel what I'm feeling, maybe call up a friend, maybe go out by myself for ice cream, maybe go watch a movie. Just find a way to console myself without having to hit my mom up. Yeah, I think I've grown so much out of that because I mean, it's nice to have your mom there to talk to all the time, but obviously that's not realistic for a lot of people, and it became unrealistic for me, and I think at some point in my life, I would have had to learn how to deal with everything on my own rather than just resort to calling her every single time something happened.
I agree wholeheartedly about mother support. I understand when it comes to being sad and feeling alone and just reaching out to your parent because you're feeling this way every time you feel that way, because when you feel a certain way in college, you gotta know that it's gonna revisit you sooner or later. So your parent would just be talking to you about the same things every other time that you feel that way. So coming up with ways to cope, like going out for ice cream that you said, and being able to figure out how to take your mind off of that feeling and being able to have healthy ways to understand yourself and being able to pull yourself out of that place and not having to always reach out to your parent for every little struggle that you have. Because in college, of course, you have your parents to lean on, but this is also a time where you can take advantage of to be able to try things on your own. Next question. What are the top 2 skills that you would take away from college after graduation?
Top 2 skills I've learned from college that I will be taking with me after graduation. Number 1 is networking, and number 2 is time management. I want to talk about networking first. I'm literally taking a whole class right now that discusses networking and how to talk to people and how to stay connected to people even after that first time you meet them. I think this is so important, not only in your college life, not only in your work life, but also in your social life, just your personal connections, your personal relationships. I think it's so important to know how to express your feelings, how to express what you like, what you don't like, how to respond to feedback, how to respond to criticism. I think that's such an important aspect, and I think you really can't get far in life if you don't know how to talk. You know what I mean? You got to be able to back and forth, to take that back and forth and to be able to give it, and I think that's just extremely necessary. The number 2, time management. It's taken a long way to get here, but I think I'm finally at the point now where even if I have a million assignments, I'm not gonna stress about getting them done because I know exactly how to divide up my time, and only college can teach you that. You know what I mean? Only having that consistent routine and learning the way that you study and the way that you get things done can you build a proper time management. You know, yeah, that's all.
You mentioned networking and time management. Networking is good because you will be able to communicate and be able to maneuver around different situations even if you don't have the experience. At least you will know somebody in that area that could pull you up to where they are or where you want to be. For time management, I would say that's good even outside of academics because you will be able to manage your time on how to get ready if you're going to an event and be able to know how long it would take to get there and not arrive too late. Time management in school, I would say, is good because you're not procrastinating to be able to get an assignment done on time without having to ask for an extension or get a 0 for not completing a task. It's good to have time management because that is your start of having a balance between college and your personal life. My top 2 skills that I would take away from college is my honors college skills from experiencing classes that don't directly tie in with my major, and community service skills because it allowed me to build teamwork and skills in ways that I didn't know would matter. Being able to walk into a room and we have the same end goal and be able to work with strangers to complete that goal is something that I'm gonna have to do in my career because I will be able to work with people that I don't even know or have a relationship with. Last question. What advice would you give to people that are just coming into college?
Advice I have for someone who's going to leave home to go to college: be excited. Just be excited. There's no way to prepare mentally or physically or anything. Just go. Be open to any new experience. Be open to try whatever comes in front of you. Every event that you're invited to, say yes. Say yes. Just go. Make some new friends and have fun. That's the most important thing, I think, is to just have fun. I think that's what I'm most grateful for, is just the experiences that I've had and the friends that I've made along the way. I think I've made lifelong friends here in college, and I'm so grateful for them, and just grateful for this version of myself that wouldn't have existed now for those experiences. I know I used to be so socially anxious and introverted and just like scared of the world, and I'm not that anymore, and I'm so grateful for college for giving that to me.
I agree. Be excited, but also be focused. Be focused on what you came in here for. Be focused on your academics, your goals, to drive you to be able to manage the stress of college, because you're going to get stressed one way or another being in college. Also, I would say be careful. There's going to be events and things taking place in college, and you have to hold on to those values so you won't slip away from what your parents taught you. You have to be able to know that some experiences don't need to be experienced by you. You should be able to see what other people do and leave it at that, and be able to know yourself and know what you can handle, know what not to take know what to take part of, and know what not to take part of. So, with that being said, thank you so much, Rital, for giving us your knowledge and your time, your experience for this podcast. And I really appreciate you. And I hope and know that this journey will be amazing for you, as it already has been. And for everybody watching, be you in a world full of copies. Stay tuned for the next episode about obstacles and challenges through spirituality and through college. With that being said, journey conversations out.
But I finally... Did you hear that voice crack? Go! I think my mental and emotional
that doesn't directly tie in with my major, to be able to go and